Welcome back to the Deep Dive. You've sent us the sources, the articles, and the in-depth comparisons, and today we are settling what might be the most persistent rivalry in the digital office.
A spreadsheet showdown.
The spreadsheet showdown. It's time.
It's more than just a rivalry, you
Yeah.
know? It's really a foundational, almost a philosophical clash. We're doing a comprehensive, source-guided comparison of Microsoft Excel and Google Sheets, but specifically for where we are right now in 2025.
Right.
And the mission here for you, the learner, is absolutely critical. We have to move past that old tribalism.
Oh, the which one is better argument.
Exactly. That's over. The goal now is to figure out which tool is the perfect operational fit for your current needs, for your organization's data scale.
Exactly, because this isn't about picking the single best platform anymore. I mean, both Excel and Sheets are undeniably smarter.
So much smarter.
And way more powerful, more integrated than they were even, 3 years ago?
Oh, easily. The arrival of massive AI integration has just completely blurred the lines.
So today, we're going to detail their functional differences, their sheer performance capabilities under pressure.
And we are talking about serious pressure.
Serious pressure. And we're going to look at how AI is fundamentally redefining their roles in the modern office.
And to really get where we are now, I think we have to acknowledge the history. I mean, Microsoft Office, it's been the entrenched business staple for over 30 years.
3 decades. That's incredible.
It is. They built the entire ecosystem. Excel, Word, PowerPoint, Outlook, OneDrive, Teams. The list just goes on. SharePoint, Yammer, Power Apps. Excel has that legacy.
It has that corporate trust, right?
Exactly. That trust that comes from 3 decades of financial reporting, of auditing, of just institutional standardization.
And that trust is so hard to break. But then, of course, the challenger arrived.
Right around 2006, Google Docs and Sheets launched, and initially the corporate world was deeply skeptical.
I remember that. They were seen as lightweight, maybe for students or for a quick survey.
But not for serious financial work. Absolutely not.
And that reluctance.
It's just evaporated. I mean, Google has built this massive competitive user base defined by their whole G Suite ecosystem.
Gmail, Docs, Sheets, Drive, Meet.
Chat, Keep, Calendar, Slides, the whole package.
So this rivalry is completely entrenched. And it's really defined by 2 different philosophies, isn't it?
Completely. Microsoft focuses on, let's call it, local single-user computational power with a really strong cloud backup.
While Google?
Google focuses purely on cloud accessibility and just radical immediate collaboration.
Okay, so before we dive into the heavy comparisons, let's just nail down the similarities, because they do share a substantial foundation now.
They really do, in a way we couldn't have imagined 20 years ago.
So what's on that shared list?
Both have robust mobile versions for iOS and Android. Both support file syncing across all your devices.
And critically, offline work.
Yes. Both now allow for true offline work, and they sync your changes once you reconnect. That used to be a huge differentiator.
But what about the feature that really put Sheets on the map in the first place?
Real-time multi-user collaboration. That's now a standard feature in modern Excel, as long as you're linked up through OneDrive.
And for you, the individual learner, both M365 and G Suite, offer free, limited versions through a web browser.
So the basics are covered no matter which way you go.
Okay, that's the baseline. But the fundamental architectural differences, that's what really separates them when the work gets tough.
I think the biggest distinction is just the application environment. Excel still has these powerful, robust desktop applications.
Meaning the heavy lifting, the computation, it runs in your local machine.
Your processor, your RAM. And that gives you a speed and a stability that, frankly, a browser-based tool just can't match.
Whereas Google Sheets, by its very design,
is primarily web-based. It lives in your browser or your mobile app. And that difference completely changes the performance profile when you start to scale up.
And the file-saving architecture, I assume, reflects that same difference.
Precisely. In Microsoft 365, you can save your files locally and to the cloud, usually OneDrive or SharePoint.
So you get that redundant backup system.
Right, and you get local access for that fast processing. G Suite, on the other hand, is cloud-saved only.
So unless you're specifically on the mobile app where there are temporary local copies,
your work lives entirely inside Google Drive. If Google Drive is down or your internet is just unstable, your operational speed just degrades immediately.
Okay, let's talk enterprise integration. How well do they play with the rest of the business world?
Well, M365 generally has broader, more established third-party support. Think about, big ERP systems, legacy reporting tools.
Things like SurveyMonkey or MailChimp.
Exactly, because an Excel file is, for all intents and purposes, a universal data standard. The integration ecosystem is just wider. But G Suite integrates with frictionless perfection within the Google Workspace itself.
Drive, Calendar, Gmail.
If your whole organization lives in the Google Cloud, that internal efficiency is incredibly high. The systems just talk to each other instantly with no manual intervention.
Okay, let's unpack this. Let's start with the champion of accessibility, Google Sheets. This platform has clearly become the winner in the collaboration space, and the sources really show why it's gained so much market share.
It was built for the cloud from day one. I mean, its core strength is that frictionless access.
The architecture is just designed for teamwork.
It is. Real-time editing, comments, sharing. It's all intuitive and smooth because the whole environment is built around parallel processing and immediate syncing.
And even though modern Excel has co-authoring,
It does via OneDrive, but the workflow in Sheets just feels lighter. It feels less tied to these complex IT-managed file paths. It really is a simplicity of open a link and start typing.
which Excel's file-based process, even in the cloud, can't quite replicate.
It can't because it still treats the file as a single object that's being modified, not as a fluid, living document in the same way.
And the market share numbers for 2025 are frankly staggering. They really underscore this shift in how we work.
Absolutely. The sources show that Google Apps actually leads the overall Office productivity software market share.
By how much?
It's 50.34%, which narrowly edges out Microsoft Office 365 at 45.46%. And this isn't just general use.
This reflects deep adoption in key sectors.
It does. We know that 70% of Google Workspace users are actively using Sheets every week, and 42 million users worldwide rely on it every single day for collaborative tasks. That's a huge engaged user base.
And this adoption seems very targeted, especially in these newer organizational structures.
It is. Small businesses, so those with under 500 employees, they show a 63% Sheets usage rate. Over half of all U.S. small businesses prefer it over Excel.
So what about remote-first companies?
They standardize on Sheets, a 75% adoption rate because it just instantly eliminates any local version control problems.
The user base is also younger, right?
Demonstrably. The 25 to 34 age demographic, that's 38% of total users. And 68% of freelancers use it as their primary data tool. Sheets is the platform for emerging business and hyper-collaboration.
So the environment is collaborative, it's widely adopted, but does it have the functional muscle to compete? Or is it just the easy-to-share option? What are the unique, powerful advantages Sheets has?
Well, Sheets has some highly specialized functions that are designed specifically to integrate with the web. This is where it really shines.
Like dynamic data import.
Exactly. For example, the function Google Finance. It just pulls live financial and stock data so easily. You type the ticker, the attribute, and boom, it updates automatically.
That's powerful, but what about importing other web data?
Even more powerful. Sheets can import HTML data from any URL with a single function. This is amazing for quick data scraping or tracking online tables without writing any complex code.
That is fantastic for, say, a business intelligence team doing competitor tracking.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk automation. Excel has VBA. What's Sheets' answer?
That would be AppScript. AppScript is the scripting language for Sheets and really the entire Google Workspace.
And it's JavaScript-based, which is a huge deal.
It's a massive advantage because JavaScript is the most common programming language on the planet. So it's very convenient for developers who are already familiar with web stacks. It's excellent for automation, for running macros, all within the web app.
But the real power isn't the language itself, it's that seamless integration with the Google ecosystem, isn't it? Give us a concrete example of that integration loop that Excel just can't easily replicate.
Okay, imagine you manage weekly vendor reports. With AppScript, you can set a time-driven trigger, let's say every Monday morning, 9 a.m.
Okay.
The script executes, it runs a formula, maybe flagging vendors who missed a key performance indicator. Then it automatically generates a formatted PDF summary of that data.
And
It writes that PDF to a specific folder in your Google Drive, and then it generates an email draft in Gmail with the PDF already attached, ready for you to quickly review and send to your manager,
all within the same cloud environment.
without ever leaving your browser or needing a local application to run. That level of ecosystem cohesion, that's AppScript's unique selling point.
Okay, let's talk about the absolute powerhouse formula that Sheets users always bring up, the query function. The expert consensus is that this is a game changer. Why?
Query Query is a game changer because it fundamentally changes how you interact with your data in a spreadsheet. It lets you run basically SQL-like queries.
Structured query language right on your data in a single function. So you can use clauses like select, where, group by.
Order by, all of it.
That sounds very technical. Let's break down the practical implication for an average user. How does that compare to, say, chaining a bunch of complex functions together in Excel?
Well, think about what it takes to aggregate data manually. If you want to find the total sales just for the Eastern region for items sold in March and then sort it by quantity.
In Excel, that's probably a pivot table or 3 or 4 different functions chained together, maybe some helper columns.
It's a whole process. Query does it in one go. You just write, for example, query A1.F100, select C, sum E, where B, East and D starts with Morrow group by C, order by sum E, death.
That is immense flexibility. You're filtering, you're summing, and you're sorting all inside one highly readable function.
Exactly. And compared to something like VLOOKUP, which is simple but so constrained,
It only searches vertically and only returns a value to the right of the column you're looking in.
Query is just infinitely superior for data management. It handles large data sets more efficiently, especially if the data isn't sorted. The lookup column can be anywhere. And because you filter before you present the data, it's great for dynamic reporting.
So this one function brings a level of relational database functionality right into the spreadsheet.
That's a level of functionality that Excel only really achieves by forcing you into Power Query or complex pivot tables.
Okay, so if Sheets is the smooth, collaborative champion optimized for the cloud, then we have to turn to the heavy hitter, Excel. This is where we talk pure horsepower and scale.
This is absolutely where the desktop application environment proves its worth. When it comes to performance and sheer data limits, Excel is the unambiguous winner for heavy lifting.
So Sheets starts to struggle around what, 100,000 rows?
I'd say 100 to 150,000 rows, especially if those rows have complex array formulas. The browser just starts to gasp for air.
Whereas Excel,
Excel, using your local processing power, handles over 1 million rows, 1 million rows, and 16,000 columns without noticeable lag, even with complex formulas spanning thousands of cells.
that massive difference in scale, that's often the non-negotiable factor for big companies, right? Financial institutions, manufacturing.
Anyone with huge transaction logs. Sheets has that technical limit of 10 million cells. But you're right, the practical limit is much, much lower.
That stated limit is just a theoretical maximum.
In practice, the browser's memory management, the network latency, it causes significant performance degradation way before you hit that point.
So I import a 50 megabyte CSV file with millions of records.
Excel will process it in seconds on your local CPU. Sheets will either force you into the XLSX format or it'll just start timing out, especially with frequent saves.
And Excel doesn't just stop at what you can see on the sheet. You mentioned the underlying data model. This is a technical detail that really separates the pros from the casual users.
It is the ultimate differentiator for handling scale. Excel's data model, which is what powers Power Pivot, is not just a bunch of cells. It uses the VertiPack in-memory analytical engine.
Okay, what is that in simple terms?
It's a columnar and compressed storage engine. So instead of storing data row by row, it stores it column by column, which is vastly more efficient for analytical queries and for aggregation.
And this allows the data model to store and aggregate data sets that are far larger than what can even be displayed on the sheet.
Far larger. We're talking hundreds of millions, even billions of rows without slowing down the visible sheet itself.
So you could have a sheet showing 100,000 summary rows, but underneath, the data model could be analyzing data from 6 massive separate database tables.
Exactly. And this is crucial for serious financial modeling or business intelligence. It lets you create complex pivot tables, establish relationships between different data sources,
Like a sales table, a customer table, a product table.
without having to manually merge them onto a single flat sheet. That relational capability is something Google Sheets simply cannot replicate internally.
Okay, let's explore the advanced features that have kept Excel dominant in the enterprise world. We have to start with the programming legacy.
And that legacy is VBA, Visual Basic for Applications. This is Microsoft's proprietary programming language.
And it's still the engine for so many large, established companies.
For mission-critical automation, for generating complex, highly formatted reports, and for integrating with other legacy Microsoft apps.
I have to pause you there, though. You praise VBA. But doesn't this represent a massive technological debt for a lot of companies?
That is a painful but very necessary question.
It reminds me of those old systems that everyone hates, but they can never retire because the one crucial calculation is so deeply embedded in it.
And yes, VBA is technological debt. It's often clunky, it's not web native, it creates maintenance nightmares, but
It's still necessary.
it is, because of history and complexity. Many auditors or regulatory bodies require specific report formats that only a highly customized VBA macro can reliably produce.
So what's Microsoft's modern path away from that? Or is there one?
They're trying. They're trying to shift functionality to lambda for custom functions and to Power Automate for workflow. But for those really complex, deeply embedded macros, VBA is still the only reliable key. It's the skeleton key for legacy corporate processes.
Understood. But the true modern power, especially for cleaning up messy external data, that lies in Power Query.
Power Query is Excel's superior ETL tool. Extract, transform, load. It is what serious data professionals use to solve the problem of combining, cleaning, and shaping data.
The extract and load steps are important, but you're saying the transform step is where the magic happens.
That's where the magic is.
So give us a concrete example of a complex data transformation that Power Query handles easily that would be a nightmare with standard formulas.
Okay, imagine you get monthly sales reports from 12 different regional managers. And these reports are terrible. They have the month names, January, February, as headers across the columns.
Right, what they call unpivoted or wide data.
Exactly. To analyze that, you need to turn all those column headers into a single column called month, and the sales figures into a single column called value.
Doing that manually across 12 sheets every month sounds like a multi-hour task.
It's almost impossible with standard formulas. Power Query solves this with a single click called unpivot columns.
One click.
One click. It handles that complex transformation, it cleans date formats, it merges messy text fields, and it creates a clean, standardized, analysis-ready table. And once you set that transformation pipeline up,
It runs automatically on any new data.
next month's reports, next year's reports, it automates the data cleaning and preparation, making it repeatable and auditable. This capability, unlike Sheets Query, is essential when your input data is just fundamentally messy.
And one final crucial advantage, especially for regulated industries: security.
This is a non-negotiable point for certain sectors. Excel still offers vastly better native security. We're talking password protection for the entire workbook and for specific sheets.
Which actively prevents unauthorized viewing of the data by encrypting it.
Correct. Sheets, on the other hand, it only protects against editing if the file is shared via a link. The content is still visible to anyone who has that link.
So if I have a spreadsheet with sensitive financial projections and I share the Google Sheet link, even if I restrict editing, that data is still visible.
But if you password protect an Excel file, they literally cannot open it without the key. For organizations dealing with GDPR or HIPAA compliance, where the data itself must be protected from viewing, sheet sharing architecture is often a non-starter.
Let's drill down into the formulas themselves, because for our listener, mastering modern dynamic functions is the real measure of expertise. And we're not going to dwell on history.
No, we can assume our audience knows the history. They know VLOOKUP was constrained. They probably wasted hours debugging the complex index match to look left.
Those are history lessons now.
The focus has to be on the efficiency gains of the new dynamic array functions.
So let's start with the revolutionary replacement for those older methods: XLOOKUP.
XLOOKUP is the function that finally modernized Excel. It replaces all the complexity of index match with a much simpler single function.
And critically, it defaults to an exact match.
Unlike VLOOKUP, yes.
Oh.
And it lets you easily specify the lookup range, the return range, and it has built-in handling for not found results. It just makes complex lookups intuitive and dramatically reduces formula errors.
And beyond lookups, Microsoft introduced tools to make formulas readable and repeatable. Let's talk about LED and lambda.
Okay, OT is a formula writer's dream for debugging. It lets you assign names to calculation results inside your formula.
Why is that so powerful?
If you have a complex formula where you calculate, say, the average quarterly sales 3 separate times, instead of repeating that whole calculation, you define it once as a variable, like QAVG, using a let.
So it improves readability and efficiency.
Dramatically. And it only calculates that segment once, which improves performance.
And then there's lambda, the real game changer. It lets users define their own custom functions without touching VBA. This is huge.
This function democratizes advanced formula writing. Let's say you frequently need to calculate commission due, which is always the sales value minus the cost of goods sold times the 5% commission rate.
Instead of repeating that sales cogenius 0.05 formula hundreds of times.
You define a custom function using lambda. You open lambda, you define the parameters, the inputs you need, in this case, sale value and COGS value.
Then the second part of lambda is the calculation logic itself.
So the formula in the name manager would look like lambda, sale value, COGS value, sale value, COGS value, 0.05.
You save that as, say, commission calc.
And now anywhere in your workbook, you just type commission calc, A2, B2. It makes complex workbooks instantly readable and globally consistent. It solves the efficiency problem for anyone with very specific business rules.
That is genuinely transformative. Now, for finance professionals, Excel remains indispensable because of its financial modeling toolkit. Let's dive deep there.
Excel's financial function library is just unmatched. Take a basic example, calculating loan payments with the PMT function. It's fundamental, but 90% of beginners make the same error.
Which is?
Failing to convert annual rates and terms into monthly figures. If you have a 5% annual rate over a 10-year term,
You have to divide the 5% by 12 and multiply the 10 years by 12 to get the number of periods.
exactly. The rate period and the payment period have to be identical, which is typically monthly in finance.
And beyond loan payments, what are the other crucial functions for deep financial analysis?
You have the core time value of money functions, rate, NPV for net present value, which is crucial for investment appraisal, and FV for future value.
And for loan amortization schedules.
You have CUMI-PMT and comprens to calculate the cumulative interest and principal paid between specific periods.
And modern Excel is even better integrated with live data now, isn't it?
Yes, it recognizes its role in the live data economy. It has dynamic stock functions like stock history and field value that let you pull specific data points, closing price, volume for specified dates, directly from financial sources. It turns Excel into a real-time monitoring tool.
Okay, finally, just on the mechanics of managing those huge multi-tab workbooks, what tools does Excel offer for referencing data across dozens of tabs reliably?
You absolutely need Excel's workbook management functions when your files get complex.
Yeah.
Indirect is the powerhouse here.
How does that work?
It allows a formula to use the text in another cell as the actual reference path. So instead of hard-coding sheet1.A1, you can type sheet1 in cell D1, and your formula reads the contents of D1 to know which sheet to look at.
Which is essential for creating templates that reference dynamically named input tabs.
Precisely. We also have cell, which can retrieve metadata like the full workbook name and path, and the sheet function, which can list the index numbers of all sheets. These tools give you dynamic flexibility that simple references just can't offer.
Okay, we've established the rivalry based on core functionality, programming, performance. But the biggest disruption in 2025 is clearly the AI revolution.
That's the key architectural shift. The choice is becoming less about memorizing syntax and more about which AI agent you want managing your data.
Because AI is being integrated right into the user interface via large language models.
It's enabling natural language processing. You can now generate incredibly complex formulas, structure pivot tables, or write sophisticated query commands just from plain English.
So let's start with Microsoft's offering, Copilot in Excel. You mentioned something called agent mode, which sounds like it goes way beyond just asking for a formula.
It does. Microsoft is focused on making Copilot an orchestrator. Agent mode lets the AI manage multi-step spreadsheet tasks.
So instead of asking what's the average sale,
You can prompt it to analyze the Q3 sales data, fetch the list of clients who increased their spend by more than 20% compared to Q2, highlight any anomalies in transaction size, and draft a 3-sentence executive summary explaining the growth drivers.
wow. So the AI is running multiple transformations, flagging outliers, and summarizing results, all in a single interaction.
Yes, and critically, Microsoft is focused on making that workflow verifiable and traceable. You can see the steps Copilot took.
Which is essential in a corporate environment. You can't just trust a black box result.
You need to know which filters were applied, which calculations were used to ensure accuracy and compliance.
So how does Google Sheets Duet AI respond to that level of orchestration?
Duet AI in Sheets is focusing more on streamlining common tasks and keeping that collaborative flow going. It offers features like help me organize for quick table building.
And it's great strength.
Is that Duet AI can generate app script code from a prompt. So for users who struggle with JavaScript, this is huge.
They can just describe the automation task. Write a script that emails me when a cell turns red.
And Duet AI will provide the code for them to implement.
Both systems are clearly aiming to reduce manual data cleaning and formula writing, which is a huge benefit for reducing human error. But this connects to our final takeaway, doesn't it? If the AI is writing the formula, the complexity of the data itself doesn't just disappear.
Exactly. This is the crucial point for you, the learner, in 2025. The AI is only as good as the underlying data structure you give it.
So if you feed Copilot messy, unpivoted, inconsistent data,
It will still produce flawed, confusing results. The indispensable skill is rapidly shifting from formula syntax mastery to data architecture and governance. You have to design the perfect schema for the AI to query, or it will run out of steam.
that makes perfect sense. And while these tools are great for work within the spreadsheet, massive corporations need specialized platforms that live outside of it. Let's look at that external ecosystem.
We can start with Tableau. This is widely recognized as a business intelligence and data visualization platform. It integrates directly with Excel and Sheets files, massive databases.
And its main job is creating detailed visual dashboards.
Right. Taking raw numbers and turning them into clear, actionable visual insights, like heat maps or dynamic charts.
But what's the barrier to entry for a typical learner?
Tableau requires a steep learning curve and a significant budget. It's a specialized platform. It's not something you pick up casually on a Tuesday afternoon. It's the enterprise solution for high-end data storytelling.
Then we have Cube, which is targeted at a very specific function within mid-sized businesses.
Yes, Cube is a cloud-based financial planning and analysis, or FP&A, platform. It's explicitly designed for FP&A teams in mid-sized businesses that need fast, reliable budgeting and forecasting.
And its genius is that it meets them where they already work.
In Excel and Google Sheets. It acts as a layer between your financial systems and your spreadsheet, automatically pulling and unifying the data. It eliminates that manual, repetitive work.
So it cleans up the low-value work for the finance team.
Precisely. It provides a reliable data repository, a dashboard creator right inside the Excel interface, and it simplifies the whole budgeting cycle.
What are its limitations?
It's not really for individual business owners, and its geographic focus is heavily North American and Canadian right now.
And for the truly massive, complex enterprises, global banks, huge logistics chains, we look at Fine Report.
Fine Report is a heavyweight enterprise reporting solution. It's used where complex, large-scale data needs are the norm. Its strength is sheer volume handling and integration.
It can handle petabytes of data.
And supports real-time data integration directly from dozens of core operational systems.
The sources gave a strong case study for Fine Report.
They did. A prominent global financial institution adopted Fine Report to overhaul its internal and regulatory data systems. Before, generating complex regulatory reports took hours of manual data consolidation.
And with Fine Report,
Data processing time was reduced from hours to mere minutes. Manual reporting work was reduced by 75%. And crucially, it provides the high levels of data security and granular permissions required for highly sensitive financial data.
it's clear that the future, whether it's Excel or Sheets, requires integrating with these larger, specialized systems.
Okay, let's pivot back to the practical application for our learner. Leveraging templates and structure for immediate efficiency.
Ready-to-use templates are one of the fastest ways to gain efficiency on any platform. They just eliminate the blank page problem.
They save time and effort because they come pre-designed with all the formulas and logic.
They provide detailed overviews of your key performance indicators, they support complex calculations, and they enhance accountability because everyone on the team is using the same structure.
And we have some great, widely recognized examples, especially for personal and small business finance.
We can start with the NerdWallet budget spreadsheet. It's so popular because it operationalizes a disciplined financial framework. It uses a 50-30-20 budget breakdown.
50% on needs, 30% on wants, 20% on savings and debt.
But importantly, it's customizable. If you live in a high cost of living area or you're aggressively paying down debt, you can reconfigure that split to, say, 60-30-10. That flexibility is key.
And for startups and established businesses that need strategic roadmaps, the scored templates are invaluable.
SCORE, which supports entrepreneurs, offers comprehensive templates. A great one is their one-page business model canvas template.
For those who are overwhelmed by writing a 40-page business plan.
Exactly. It documents the concept by focusing on 9 essential building blocks: value proposition, customer segments, key activities, and so on. It forces clarity.
And SCORE also offers free mentorship to help apply these templates, right?
Which turns a static document into a living strategic process.
Shifting back to Google Sheets specifically, There was a recent enhancement that brings some of the structural rigor Excel users have relied on for years, the new table feature.
It's a significant structural leap for Sheets. Excel's structured tables have long been a massive advantage, and Sheets is finally catching up,
So this new feature converts plain ranges into structured layouts.
which simplifies data creation and dramatically reduces repetitive manual formatting. It enhances team collaboration by maintaining data integrity, and it reduces manual errors by automating things like sorting and filtering.
So it forces better, more consistent data architecture, which connects perfectly back to our AI discussion.
Yeah.
How does this look in practice for managing different kinds of team data?
The sources provided excellent examples across recruitment, marketing, and customer relations. Let's start with recruitment.
Okay.
Imagine a startup using a structured recruitment table to track applicant data. We can use a specific formula to track highly segmented progress.
What's the scenario and the formula goal?
The goal is to dynamically filter for applicants who've reached the final interview stage but haven't yet received an offer. We can use the Sheets filter function combined with blank.
And the formula would look something like,
Filter applicant names, not is blank interview date, stage final round, is blank offer status.
that's highly specific. So it filters the applicant names where the interview date is not blank, the stage is final round, and the offer status is blank. The structured table names make that very readable.
For marketing, the pre-built templates help manage content and campaign trackers. The power here is in analysis. For an e-commerce platform, you can use pivot tables to summarize ad cost and revenue by region or channel. The structured data ensures you're not getting a garbage in, garbage out problem.
And finally, customer relations management, where tracking estimated revenue is critical.
Right. Businesses use a customer relations table to centralize customer data. For the sales pipeline, we can use an array formula with the substitute function to dynamically calculate expected revenue based on the probability of closing.
And it's structured to convert percentage strings, like 50%, into decimals for the calculation.
Exactly. The array formula looks like this. Array formula D2D17, substitute F2.F31%, 100.
And the array formula wrapper applies that calculation across the entire range.
Without having to manually drag the formula down, the substitute part strips the percentage sign, and dividing by 100 converts it to a decimal. It's an effective way to manage a whole sales pipeline with zero manual upkeep.
That brings us full circle. We've compared the collaborative ease of Sheets against the analytical might of Excel and factored in the AI assistance and the shift toward structured data. So what's the final synthesis for our learner in 2025?
The choice comes down entirely to scale, data complexity, and your operational environment. If your primary need is instantaneous collaboration, broad organizational adoption, especially in small or remote businesses, and that seamless Google ecosystem integration,
Then Google Sheets is absolutely your path.
its unique features like query and simple dynamic data importing make it extremely efficient for web-based projects and agile teams.
And the power path, the heavy lifting path.
That path leads unambiguously back to Excel. Choose Excel for handling truly massive data sets, millions of rows, complex data modeling with the Vertipack engine, and maximum customization using its proprietary tools.
VBA for legacy systems, Power Query for superior ETL.
And the deep built-in financial and statistical functionality that Sheets just cannot match for advanced analysis.
So what this all means is, the takeaway isn't choosing a winner. It's mastering flexibility and knowing the boundaries.
Absolutely. The real power skill in 2025 is not loyalty to one tool. Serious data workers use both. They choose the right platform for the right job.
So using Sheets for real-time data collection and quick collaboration.
And then, if needed, exporting that clean data into Excel for the final heavy-duty analysis or deep ETL transformations with Power Query. Flexibility, architectural knowledge, and knowing the limits of each tool, that's paramount to professional success.
That's a great conclusion, but as the software itself gets smarter, we have to look forward. We've established that AI tools like Copilot and Duet AI are automating formula generation. If the AI is doing that mechanical work, what is the next truly indispensable skill for the modern spreadsheet user?
That's the provocative thought we need to leave you with, and it circles right back to what we discussed in the AI section. If the AI is writing the formula, then memorizing complex, nested syntax like how to structure a difficult index match, or even a tricky query statement, that might become less critical over time.
So the indispensable skill shifts.
It shifts dramatically, from execution to architecture and intellectual governance. The next wave of crucial expertise will be focusing on how to design the initial perfect question for the AI agent.
And how to ensure ethical and consistent data governance before the computation even begins.
And defining the optimal data architecture, making sure your input tables are structured. Because a perfect AI-generated formula applied to poorly structured or ethically unsound data will still produce flawed, untrustworthy results. Think less about writing the code and more about designing the perfect database schema. That's where the value is truly moving.